Hello, world, and welcome to another exciting edition of the program Ashford God Live on this beautiful Tuesday night as we come to you from Detroit. Some heard the name, some heard people talk about them. You've gotten the opportunity tonight to put the name to the face, huh? Well, let us show who you're having a great time tonight, folks, as we broadcast from blast and musical forecast. Oh, man. Our traditional soccer game will come on tonight between the CDC and the CPP. And we're going to have an analyst in the building, Emmanuel. No card is in the building. We're still hoping that Emmanuel Yartoe can appear tonight. In the meantime, folks, sit back, relax, grab something to drink, make yourselves feel at home. This is your station. This is your house. All right? Now, let us not go to information highway, where Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts is standing by tonight and to walk us through. Mrs. Roberts, hello, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Mr. Golly. How are you?
Well, I'm excited. Too blessed to be stressed. As always, can't complain. Who's going to listen then?
Wow. Where are you, at the Capitol building?
Well, we're coming to you live tonight from the Capitol. Yeah, the Capitol. You know what? All you got there, the noise. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, good evening and welcome to all of you, all of our guests on this terrific Tuesday edition of Bridge TV Africa with your host, Ashford, the Giant, Garley. This evening we say thank you for coming live with us as we bring you our entertainment and information section from 3 platforms. We're coming from Facebook Live, YouTube, and Bridge TV Africa. Thank you for choosing Bridge TV as your choice of information and entertainment. As you know, there's so much going on around the world, but most importantly, right here in the land of the brave. So we ask that you please get yourselves comfortable as we bring you some information, entertainment, a little bit of everything. We ask that you please share the show with your friends. We also ask that you be respectful of one another. Be respectful of our host and most importantly, of our guests. Please do subscribe to Bridge TV Africa for more information and entertainment. Grab your drink of choice or your meal of choice as it is dinner time. Or if you've already had your dinner, grab your snack because we're about to take you for a ride. Thank you, Mr. Gali. Back to you.
That's right. Thank you, Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts. And I'm in a good spirit tonight. And you see my face shining, eh? Shining to know. Wow. I think that's the water. I'm drinking a lot of water than doing my little routine walk. More water. And I can see the shine tonight, And I feel great about myself tonight as well. As always. Yendi Gogo, listening from Baltimore, Maryland. Kalon Zai, you celebrated yesterday. She said, Pekin, I see your energy, good spirit. Baba Salufud is in the building watching as well. Sylvester Constance from Syria. Oh, man. Melissa Tawe, I can see your smile, she says. Mr. John Harvey Grispet, my brother from Detroit, is in the building tonight. Mona Cote from Europe. Oh, man. As a big boy, just take it easy. Tough times don't last, tough people do. And the height of a man is never known until he rises. How about that? I think we're going to read a few more comments, and then we're going to do a little tribute to George Floyd, as the whole world pays tribute to George Floyd. But before then, folks, the program tonight is dedicated to my friend and big brother, Mr. Jack Norman of PA. He's celebrating his birthday. Congratulations. I mean, he's one of the hottest, I'm talking about professional disc jockeys among the African community. This young man has traveled extensively in Europe, America, and parts of Africa just to entertain people. Jack Norman, aka DJ Jack. Congratulations. Nelson Morris in the building. Ambassador G. Thomas Telewinian is also in the building tonight. Back to Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts. Give us a few comments. Pay our tribute to George Floyd. Introduce our special guests. Folks, let's have fun. Mrs. Roberts.
You, Mr. Kali. Yes. So we have trending right now. We have from Victoria Cheeks. She says, I'm watching. We have Mr. Charles Russell watching from work. We also have Melissa Tawe. She said, morning from Australia. We have Miss Bernice Cisco Early watching from New Jersey. We have Melissa Tawe again. Good morning from Australia. Tiara Howard, welcome, Mrs. Way. My dual pillow son, right. What's up, Bridge Radio family? Listening on my way home. We have Mr. Alvin Perry, he says, welcome. Agba Mamolu, he says, watching from Washington, D.C., the state where decisions are made and where all of the hot stuff is coming from. We also have Josephus Shaw Thomas. He says, hey, what's up, Bridge Radio family? My dual son listening to the one and the only giant who don't eat iron but is stronger than the lion. Wow. Sylvester Constance, right, watching from Damascus, Syria. Wow. Welcome, Sylvester. We have Baba Salifu. I am watching. Kalon Zaye, the birthday girl. Belated. Pekin, I see your energy, good spirit. Welcome, birthday girl. Yandy Gogi, he said, listening from Baltimore, Maryland. We have Miss Rocadia Johns in the building. John Harvey Grisby, he says, very good. Melissa Tower says, I can see your smile.
Two more comments, please.
Kalon Zayed, looking good, Ashford. Mona Koti also says, I'm here tonight.
Okay.
We have Ambassador G. Thomas Telewani watching you from Mali, West Africa.
Wow.
Wow, you guys are all welcome. Please make yourselves comfortable as we continue the show. More information coming up.
Thank you. Today is also the anniversary of Mrs. Mona Cote as she celebrates along with her husband Paul. What's Paul last name, man? Okay, Paul Benson. Okay, they are in Europe. Congratulations, Mona and Paul, as you celebrate. All right. And Rebecca Chid is also in the building. And we'll also see Mr. Smith Dawei, one of our staunch supporters. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to West Africa, Liberia, where Miss Angel Morris is standing by to bring us the news headline. Angel, hello. Welcome to the show. Angel, we can't hear you. Bad signal. We can hear you, Angel.
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so good evening to all of our listeners and viewers of Bridge Radio Africa. Welcome to our major news headlines making news across Africa. So today we have 8 African countries that we have featured into this edition, starting with Liberia. Liberia's Minister of Information, Culture, Affairs and Tourism, Len Eugene Nankbe, has disclosed that the government of President George Manaria practically takes the Liberian media as a stepchild. As uncertainty mounts over the reopening of schools in the country, Education Minister Ansusoni says there will be no promotion of students after COVID-19 in the country. Still in Liberia, the collaborating political parties has said in a press statement that the legal framework document was the wrong copy released to the public. The chairman of the collaborating political parties, Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, says the CPP is also not free of imperfection. Lastly, for Liberia, government lawyers across the country have said the court needs to deny a motion by the former National Public Health Institute of Liberia, Director General Tobot Yensua, who has filed an application to Criminal Court C, asking the court to dismiss the travel ban filed against him by the state. At this juncture, we go to Nigeria, and this one says Nigerian Senate has approved President's request for 5.5 billion in external borrowing from the international lenders. This borrowing is a part of the revised budget for 2020, and the revision allows for the effects of the coronavirus.
I don't know why you keep going in and out, Angel. Can hear you, you know.
The sharp drop in oil prices, which has dented Nigeria's spending plans because oil sales make up 90% of its foreign exchange earnings. In South Africa, this one says,
I'm afraid we're going to have to end the newscast because of the poor signal. We're going to have to end the newscast because of the poor signal. We can hear you.
Are you not hearing me?
Okay, you keep going in and out. We can hear you, so you have to be a little stable, please. Go ahead now.
So we were to South Africa, and this one says, South Africa's cabinet said on Tuesday it had taken note of a High Court judgment declaring its coronavirus restrictions as unconstitutional and that it was studying the judgment, though the lockdown remained in force for now. In Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe has tightened its lockdown in the capital. Also in Zimbabwe, the main opposition party, Movement for Democratic Change, said the president was trying to suppress protests over a worsening economy and to stop the MDC supporters from gathering at the courts, where the lawyer for its leader was due to appear after being arrested on Monday. In Tanzania, educational institutions have reopened in the country. In Malawi, the Ministry of Health earlier today has announced that 22 new confirmed COVID-19 cases have been reported in the country. And to date, 4 individuals have died as a result of contracting the virus. Nigeria has recorded 578 with a total of 200 deaths. In Ghana, has 8,297 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 30 deaths. Finally, World Health Organization updates on COVID-19 says over 150,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases on the African continent, with more than 63 recoveries and 4,200 deaths. That does it for nature.
Okay, Inja, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much for the newscast. You know, tonight we have the CPP going against CDC in a friendly political soccer game tonight. I'm going to give you the lineup just before we introduce our special guest. In the meantime, I want to say congratulations to Mr. Jack Nurmed as he celebrates his birthday today. Congratulations, big brother. Many more birthdays to come. Monaco to you and Paul Benson, congratulations on the occasion of your anniversary. Bon anniversaire. Thank you, Smith Valley, as always. I mean, this young man has just memorized the Cash App number. We don't even have the posted number for him to contribute. Oh, man. So much love. And as always, we're going to start with the strangers. We have corruption, lies, false promises, man to man, D-hole cover hole, police brutality, sex trafficking, murder, greed, woman to woman, double jeopardy, boyo, rape, statutory rapist, nepotism, executive torture, tribalism, human trafficking, bribery, market works, baboon draws, hard time, drugs abuse, prostitution, domestic violence, hunger, suppression, selective justice, intimidation, fear, grudge, witch hunt, retaliation. Oh man. We also have George Ware, Joy Howard Taylor, Samuel Toy, Natalie McGill, Bill Twawi, Wilson Toppin. And then we have Akaras Moses Gray, Opion King Kong, Molba Molu, Likoto, Mabudu Yimpa, Moses Wakoli, Alosha Stalu, Von Von. Social distancing, face mask, frequent hand watching, DEA, immigration, GSA, LMP. For CPP, Alexander Bay Cummins, Alexander Benedict Cummins is on the field. NFC Boycott, Ure, Kanga. Sound before you know. social contract. AKV, known. Active, known, and visible. VPS, no CPP, no job. Vovon, lies, deception. Oh man. Self-interest. No permanent headquarters. Everyone wants to be president. The funnel. Anybody can make a mistake. But we are fixing the mistake now. And then you have the Senate as one of the landsmen, the representatives, the Supreme Court of Liberia, and of course the National Election Commission, the March Commissioner. The board is now in the middle of the field, folks. I'm telling you. Play-by-play description this afternoon. SKD Sports Complex in Painesville. Chief commentator. That now you know me, Garland. Oh man. The ball comes to George Weah. George Weah looks around. He connects Joel Howard Taylor. Joel Howard Taylor looks around. She connects Simon Tour back to Joel Howard Taylor. Joel Howard Taylor is saying, I told you people I was not going to be a parked car. President doing own project, I got to do my own project too. So it means that we can smuggle people in the country to come do mining, illegal mining in Cocoa Bon County. We will do what we have to do. I have to develop my county too. If the president can develop Grand Crew, I will develop Bon County. That no party. You do your own, I do my own. The ball comes to executive torture to nepotism. Nepotism to human trafficking under bribery. Bribery to market works, baboon jaw. Then the ball comes by the drugs abuse. Drugs abuse to prostitution. Prostitution to domestic violence to hunger to suppression. On to selective justice. Then the ball comes back to man to man. Man to woman to woman. Then the ball comes by the double jeopardy. Double jeopardy to statutory rapists. Statutory rapists, big swab and pussy for the timid. Then the ball comes back to sex trafficking. Sex trafficking to murder. Murder to greed. Greed to hard time. Hard time to please pay my way. On to who know you. No score to either side. No score to CPP. And no score now to CDC. The ball comes to Benanayu. Benanayu, the boycott the comments. Comments to Yomli Kanga. You know, comments has got hands full, you know. Boycott, Urid, and Kanga. They're not strange to the terrain. They know how to get around. Kwame just coming in. He's still skillful though. Still has it. And I just love his earnestly. You know, his earnesty. The man is so earnest. And he will tell you as it is. He might do something when given the chance, but the numbers still don't add up though. He's got a lot of work to do in convincing the boycott and Kanga. Man, you worry about you say he got less than 2%, so nothing to worry about. But boycott and Kanga, he's got a lot of work to do to convince them, you know. So comments back to what VPS looks around back to comment. Will he make it? No, he doesn't. Comments back to VPS again. VPS back to comment. Comments to active, known, and visible. I know they say comments new to the thing yet, but something is telling me that comments knows something about this active, known, and visible. Because sometime last year, comment was speaking somewhere in Minnesota. And Alexander Cummings said, We are building the house now. We want you to come and join so that we can all build the house together. Don't wait until the house gets to roof level. Then you come and say, put the other window there and put our other window there. He said, no, it's not going to work. This is the time where we need you now. We need all hands on deck. This was somewhere in September of last year in Minnesota. Today we're hearing about active, known, visible. So if you don't start dating now with them, your chances of getting job to support your country, it will be how. But then what makes you different from the CDC people? What makes you any different from them? At the end of the day, Liberia will always suffer. And Liberia has always been on the giving end. When will Mama Liberia receive taking joy from its citizens? Today we are crying about the CDC. Yesterday was Ellen Johnson's leave. And the CDC, they were on the outside looking in for 12 years. They get into power. Same old rigmarole. Who really love this country? And today now we're hearing from CPP. I don't know anything about coming except for the fact that this man worked hard for everything that he owns, you know? When they work out, the Yomli Kanga, the Urid, and all native by incorruption, they fall down, get up, fall down, get up. So they're not strange to the terrain. And you know, during the District 15 election, I called Yomli Kanga. She was in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I said, but how can you be part of this, the CPP? You have this young lady called Taylor Ure in the election, and you can't even lend your support. You can't even drop a line on social media in support. She said, I still money my husband. This is real talk now. I said, but young lady, I told you people in this thing together. The young lady is running to be represented in District 15. Your late husband's district. You know, your voice will carry the weight as well. You know, she said, Ashford, I can't do anything right now. I still money. My husband dying 4 months here. 18, I'm telling you, 2 weeks later, when they announced that Darrell Dillon was senator, young lady say, my tear dry. I went to Liberia now. She packed in Kino Liberia. The woman that didn't want to show up to support Taylor Ure. Give her $15,000 US. The next thing you know, crocodile here start to support. This thing has got to stop. You have to be real. You can't be wishy-washy. This country, if you really mean to do well for this country, you got to come clean. You can't be a part-time politician. If they don't give you money, you don't support them. As soon as they give you small thing, then you start to support. If you don't put your act together, you don't do what is right, you will still on inside. Talk to the opposition, talk to the ruling party. What you do to me? These are looking for a job. Back to the field to play the ball. Come to Bill Twilight. Bill Twilight look around down. But not tell him again what he making. No, he doesn't. And the ball comes back to George Ware. George Ware to Witch Hunt. Witch Hunt back to George Ware. George Ware to Molba Molu onto a Kara's grave. This man's supposed to be the president of Liberia who loves the country. And we just heard about a 9-year-old boy being raped at the headquarters of CDC. You got sons. You got children who are boys, George Ware. This little boy is 9 years old. And he's damaged for life. Your voice matters as well. Say something. So the thing they did to the boy, you like it? Because Moluba Molu said he saw you and Akara's great kissing before. The bad thing you do at night, where men and men can do. Just stop it. Maybe that's why God is messing up our country like this. That's why the country is so messed up. God made woman. But you don't want to be together, but you decide you want to be with your friend man. What comes to false promises unto man to man. Man to man to deal who cover hold back to man to man. Man to police brutality. Police brutality to sex trafficking back to man unto murder. Murder back to greed to man to man. Then the boy comes to double jeopardy unto woman to woman. It's you used to do way back during all the time. You're not bringing the team back again. Boyo. Ritualistic killing. You're killing people now for juju purposes. Because election around the corner. Just like the Congo people used to do it, and the Congo people start doing it now. Congo people, then you got men sleeping with men, women sleeping with women. Everybody inside now, just for power. Without government job, you're nothing. You don't have to be in the government. And I listened to ABC Alexander B coming the other day. He wants to try to build the country from the private sector. But he needs to be given a chance first. George Weah has established himself now. It's going to be really tough. So the CPP, don't get me wrong, you have the numbers. You have the numbers. You have over 61%. But when you hold on, when you hold on to that number until we get to the finish line. When we see Yuri, Boycott, Kanga and Cummings work together to the end. If you do that, you might stand a chance. But yo, Joseph, you might boycott some of the ills in society. You need to start talking about them. How do you sleep at night? We hear that a 9-year-old boy is raped in this day and age. What kind of conversation can you have with a 9-year-old boy? So the society think you're joining that a rape man? That's thing you're joining for? Me a country man, I can't join society. Bring that society nonsense around me. You feel pain. Then the boy comes to executive torture to human trafficking, back to bribery. Bribery to market works, baboon draw. Then the boy comes by the drugs abuse. You drugs the little children. And the next thing you know, as soon as they fall asleep, then you start to play with it behind. Young children. Do you have to sleep with somebody before you get them scholarship? I mean, how wicked can you be? A little girl comes to you and says she wants to go to school. She wants to advance her education. But to you now, you got to sleep with her before you give her scholarship. What nonsense. A young little boy comes to you for assistance. You say, come to me at night. Poor thing, poor labor. You give him Fanta, you put medicine in the Fanta. He falls asleep. The next thing he wake up, he can't even walk. That country there now, or that country friend, or that country to be. If we don't talk about these things, you will not stop. And for you who see these political leaders as your God, you need to look them in the faces and say to them, God is punishing us because of our wickedness. You need to say these things to them. If you're done, no political leader should be above country. A good leader is also a good listener. Make them to listen. Moba Mulu said he saw Akara's Gray and George were kissing. See Joey, I asking that question. That true? You get beer, I get beer, don't kissing. What sense does that make? Then the ball comes to Von to lie to deception. Deception to Opium King Kong. Opium King Kong looks at what he making. No, he does say the ball has been taken away by self-interest. CPP. You see you won't do power. All the book people you have in the CPP there. Eh? You're mistakenly send the wrong draft. You hire lawyers, professional people. They won't draft you over 1 year. You've been working on the draft. You finally bring the draft up. They said a mistake. You look at the draft, then you go on Zoom. You go sound people on Zoom. But me, I thought Joseph Boga came from Lofa. I didn't know he came from Sando. How can you sign something before you know? Hey, that's what they call Sando. How can you sign before you know? I thought you're supposed to read over it. Look for the fine prints and everything before you sign. I still believe that the CPP has good intention. But the small mistake now you're making, if you ain't do something good now, then what happened now? Then I trouble. You who claim to have all the answers, don't know the book. They mumu. We ain't no air from Bofra. He who got now as president. There you go. The game has come to a momentary standstill, folks. I'm telling you. Very shortly, I'm going to introduce to you Emery, a very staunch member of ANC.
طبعا احنا رسمنا على جدار دمروا الطيران لنوصل رسالة للعالم انه نحن انسانيين رغم تخاذل العالم كله ورغم تعمية عن قتلنا واجرام بشار الاسد.
Historical protest. I'm sure this is one of the biggest protests in history. It's for sure the biggest protest against racism, against police violence.
What is your purpose for being here? If you want to believe that we in the Netherlands do not have a problem with race, you should go ahead and go home.
I really believe that the problems that they have is nothing to do with a few bad apples. It's an institutional problem, and it has to be addressed.
Και ο ποτοπιασμός εκατομμυρίων σε όλο τον κόσμο ξεχυλήσει για τις δολοφονίες Αφροαμερικανών και διαδηλωτών. Οι εργαζόμενοι, οι νέοι, ο λαός των ΗΠΑ έχουν κάθε δικαίωμα να διαδηλώνουν ενάντια στη βαρβαρότητα και την καταστολή της Αμερικανικής κυβέρνησης.
Par ailleurs, évidemment, la question du racisme est une question qui, malheureusement, balaye bien des pays. Et cette problématique du racisme dans la police est aussi, même si on est sur des degrés de violence bien moindres, c'est aussi une problématique qui concerne la France.
I utterly understand the sentiment, but we are in a global pandemic. And I would hate for there to be an outbreak caused by someone who felt really moved to go and share their view and their opinion to then become ill. That's exactly what we're trying to prevent.
For far too many Canadians, the images and stories coming out of the US are all too familiar. As a country, we can't pretend that racism doesn't exist here. Anti-Black racism is real.
And that's right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Saturday edition. Tonight we have with us Mr. Emmanuel. Knockout. Emmanuel, can you hear me? You might just want to please unmute your phone, your device, Emre. Unmute your device, Emre. All right, man, can you hear me? Unmute your microphone.
Okay.
you you gotta mute it again. Unmute it. Okay. Can you hear me now?
But I gotta mute it. I think something's happening on your end because each time I mute it and then it gets unmuted.
Okay. I think
I do hear you. You are loud and clear.
Okay, and Ember, that it's still a tough time for all of us in America, especially as it relates to the killing of George Floyd. Man, you are out there in the Maryland area. I know you seen your portion of the racism against blacks, and put a few words to this, man. You know, what do you make of this senseless racism against black people?
I think thanks for having me, Ash. I think this is an eye opener. The things we go through in this country, we were told that whenever you acquire education, the experience, and so your life should be better in a sense of being equal to someone who is with a white person or so, a privileged person. But we're seeing this problem. We've done everything right. No, we have clean records, went to school, higher education with masters, doctoral degrees, and so. But then we still see us falling behind. So, what is the issue right now? What are we doing incorrectly? What are we doing differently from people that don't have the education we have, don't have the skills and experience we have, but we are still being left behind? To me, this is a systemic problem. We have to go deeper and root out, go into the system and change the whole system. So a lot of things, being interplayed right now. Things I see, I learned from this. The issue in America is an eye opener to remember to teach people about fundamental rights. When it comes to fundamental rights, it's a God-given right that no one can take from you. That's the reason why you see universally every country is sharing the same sentiment right now because it's a fundamental right. George Floyd was denied of his fundamental rights, okay, to live, to free speech, to due process, to those things. So there where I'm at this time. We are give your sons, your children, so you tell them to do things right, go to school, get an education, go to work, have a clean record, and so. But yet and still, how are they being left behind? How our kids are being left behind? These are the questions. The only thing that can fail us right now is the system. If you do everything correctly, but you are still being left behind, it's the system. So we have to root up the system and bring out put everyone on an equal playing field, that everyone will be treated and fairly.
You see, this is not only America's problem. You just saw the video. People from Germany, you name it, France, Italy, London. We need some type of reform. Listen. We have, like you correctly said, we have blacks who are educated, who are all about the books and all about playing by the rules, and for some reason they get targeted. I remember many, many years ago when I first moved to the US, at work, I would keep going and keep going, and I would see my fellow black brothers and sisters taking their own time, and they said, listen, man, no matter how hard you work, you will not get some type of promotion. As a matter of fact, you will actually master the job and then will bring people in of the other race and have you train them. And the next thing you know, they become your bosses. And this is something that has been around for a long time. So it is actually difficult. And the fact that you see other countries stepping in behalf of the late Floyd, I think something has to be done. Emery?
Yeah, I think the difference, people may criticize the system, but one thing I like about the system, have the opportunity to vent, to speak out, to show your frustration. Other countries, they don't have it. You see now, so America is like always taking the lead in these things. We may criticize the system in America, but we have seen it. Now it's spreading all over. Other countries had these problems long ago. You- on a very high level. Okay, but now because of America, they are able to rise up and speak up. So you will, but one thing I know, they are boldness to stand up against the system. We have that even in the systems. Martin Luther King and so they stood up against the system. Rosa Parks and so they stood up against the system. And to some extent, they won the battle. So it's a continual process till we can have the system to be recalibrated in a sense of everyone having equal rights, equal opportunities, and so these things, when it's a systemic problem, these things that are happening is from the same corporate America, where someone like Ashford will have a master's degree, Emmerich will have a master's degree, and you think you should be well off in a sense of doing everything correctly. They sit together and have a person who is, has this racist ideology or behavior and so will stop you. We don't want that. We want the barriers to be removed, where everyone who is doing everything correctly will be able to have the opportunity to excel. So America is always taking the lead. We may criticize America, but thank God that I'm in America. I can be able to go to DC, other places, and express my frustration. Thank God I'm able to. Other countries, you don't do it. Other countries, you get suppressed, oppressed, and repressed.
Okay, folks, again, if you're just joining us, this is Emery. He's what special guest tonight. We actually ended playing for Mr. Emmanuel Yartoe for reasons best known to himself. He decided to chicken out. So, Emery, let us go to the Capitol building. Okay, Darius Dillon is in the news. His friends want him out. What did Darius Dillon do for which they are calling for him to either be suspended or expelled? I have a little clip here. I want you to take a listen, and then we can discuss this as well. Take a listen.
They protect bring out bullshit. They won't do this thing to people who don't know. It is useless, so just spineless in majority of people here. They protect bring out bullshit to me. They protect bring out bullshit to me. They won't do this thing to people who don't know. We're having a decision presenting the people. The Senate is rotten, it is meaningless, it is useless, and so just spineless in majority. Meaningless, it is useless, and so just spineless in majority people here. It is meaningless, it is useless, and so just spineless in majority people here. Meaningless, it is useless, and so just spineless in majority me. They protect and bring out bullshit to me.
Senator Dillon cannot change the Capitol building by himself. He would need the collective effort of several other senators. I think about 15 senators or 16 to make a change. Where do you see the future of Senator Dillon in the Senate? Emery?
I think this is a delicate issue that we have to look at it for what it is. All right. I don't think Rosa Parks was looking for 10,000 Rosa Parks to be able to do what she did. I don't think Martin Luther King was looking for more than 300,000 Martin Luther King to do what he did. All right. So this is the point. To be able to negotiate. When it comes to voting rights, yeah, nothing wrong with negotiating. That's different. But if you look at Article 15 of our Constitution, every person shall have the right to freedom of expression, being fully responsible for the abuse thereof. Okay, so to me, if you want to call the law on those things, is wrong because you're in violation of Article 15. Okay, the right shall not be curtailed, restricted, or enjoyed by government save during any emergency declared in accordance with this Constitution. So look at Article 15. That alone, okay, puts them in in violation of the law's right because it's a fundamental right that you cannot trample upon. So let us not get into this whole thing about, oh, you should be able to suck up. The moment you start to suck up, it's a form of being compromised, and that's what the law doesn't want. So it's upon the people. Now I will tell you this: the whole protest in America is protest 101 that Liberians will have to learn how to protest, that you don't need anyone to go out there and exercise your constitutional rights. So this is an opener, and this is the one of the reasons why the government try to trample upon or try to cut back on people being on the internet, because these things you see so happen in America, other countries that did not have the urge to do these things, to go out and protest against their government, now they are doing it. So we will criticize America, but at the same time too, America is championing so many causes that other countries, the citizens of those countries, have not been bold enough to do those things. So you cannot go against the law because the law is exercising his free speech. And so the law is not saying there's fire in the Senate or in the building when there's no fire. He's saying there's corruption. Yeah, it's true. The whole Senate is attentive. So you cannot go after him saying those things. Rob before? Yes, they've done it before. So why can't Dillon say it?
But why are they after DeLon? Like you rightly said, I mean, this is not the first time where you heard senators who are frustrated expressing that they're angered, among their colleagues. Why are they after DeLon? I mean, are they after him because he claims to be the light? Of course, we seen the light. We never knew about most of these things, except for the coming in of DeLon. I mean, we never knew how much they were making. DeLon came, and whatever he said from the get-go, he did. When he said he was going to take only $5,000, we saw that. He was going to declare his assets. He did. He was going to announce his salary. He did. But some of the things that Dillon didn't know, he didn't know that the senators legalized some of the income coming in. For example, Dillon didn't know that they were going to dish out additional 6,500 or 8,500. So Dillon was on tip saying that whatever I get in terms of salary, I would take $5,000 for myself. That is enough to run my office and take care of my staff. But then we found out that there were other monies in the works, which of course they took him to task. But I still believe in Dillon, though. I still believe he's one of the few.
Right. Ashford.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mary.
But I think, Ashford, I think to me, all of the things that that did go through the legal process before Dillon got over there, it was upon them to be able to disclose full disclosure of all right now. But those things were not fully disclosed to him. It's not like I'm trying to support Dillon on all of those issues. I was one of those that talked about the money that he received. He should not have received it. The 6,005, he should not have received it. I talked about it. The reason why, because if you want to be an example, even if it did go through the legal process, there's a difference. There's a difference between legality and morality. All right, something can be legal, but it's not moral. All right, it can be legal, but it's not moral. Moral consciousness is right, wrong, and so for you to have the moral turpitude to be able to say something is wrong. Something is wrong in that you have not paid a civil servant in more than 2-3 months. It's wrong to say the income disparity between the between the highest earner and the lowest earner, you see, is not fair in any society. So my point is, with all of these things being interplayed, the launch you have said, it's not fair, even though it's legal, but because of my moral consciousness, I would not accept it. And so that going to vindicate DeLong. Okay, he meant that. Even though he did not take it and say, okay, he's going to take it for himself. But by accepting it and diverting it to the people, it's still, because 6,005 or 8,000, not going to move an inch on any project, welfare project or so, for people, it's not going to do anything. So difference was difference. So with Dylan, yeah, we may not like Dylan. Some of us, he's the best that we have, and we need to stand by him, support him, and be able to educate him on some of these issues. Don't just see Dylan and think that because he had worked over there, so you just leave him swimming in the river. And so help him, call him up, and tell him some of those things that are wrong. That, like me, I called Dylan out and tell him, Dylan, it was wrong, because if you talk about being the foundation of morality in the house, there are certain things that were legal, but you have to stand against those things.
Well, Emmerich, I understand that. Okay, from the day Dylan was sworn in, he was threatened with expulsion. Okay, but one of the things I wanted you to touch on it is that Dylan is a member of Liberty Party, and so is Senator Kanga Lawrence. And Kanga Lawrence was in there when most of the Booker's concession agreements were passed. Why didn't she bring Dylan up to speed as to, I know, Patterson, brother, big brother, you just coming in, but let me bring you in on some of the things that have been working behind the scenes. Emmerich.
You see, this is it. I don't have that intimate relationship with Yumli, so I'm not going to speak, of her in any derogatory form. But being the lone woman, which of course is nice. I mean, it's not excusable. But looking at her position, maybe it could be fear of intimidating, marginalize the women in our society. It happens. We marginalize them, even mothers in the home. The fathers who go out don't know how the children are taken care of. So it could be that fear factor too. I'm not saying one is there to give her that support. So the boldness is, so my thing about it is like, we have to give, our women, the bright ones, we have to give them support. The moment they see that we are giving them support, they're going to stand up against the system. And that's all I can say about Yumli. I don't know her, but I think, to me, like I'm going to repeat, I'm not going to make an excuse for her, but our women have been subjected long ago, since our history, that they are, in a home, they should take care of just domestication. And so that's all they did then. But you see that women are there being competitive. They are better educated. They are they got better judgment. So I don't think we should hold her now. We should just be able to touch base and say, look, you are alone. You got our support now. So I think we going to vindicate you for now. But going forward, you have the support. But there was no reason for any one of us. Yumli were there alone. Who knew about Yumli if it had not been for the law also? No one knew that Yumli was actually over there. So it's not to make an excuse for her, because I don't know her, but it's a systemic problem that we are faced with. And we have to get rid of the system. The system is bad into the core, and you can't hold any one person responsible for any bad judgment at a given day. But if it's consistent and it's always, then we say, okay, we're going to hold that person.
Okay, now we're going to go back to information highway. Then we're going to go back to the field of play, because the CPP is saying that they are going to defeat the CDC. And then after the field, we're going to come back to you. You will tell us about what you think about the CPP. And you also tell us about your golden boy, about Alexander Bay comments. Why do you think he deserves to be the president of Liberia? We'll touch on that as well. By this time, I want to go back to Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts in Information Highway. Mrs. Roberts, if you can pick up our signal, please read out a few comments, and then we'll go back to the field of play. Mrs. Roberts.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Garley. Welcome, Emric Benson Nickel. Thank you for your perspective. Trending we have from Faithful Political D-Man. He says, protest, protest, protest. On and protest, protest. Please change the linesman. Steve Boley is watching. We have Smith Dawie. He says, replying to Smith. I know, right? Steve Boley. Hello, everyone. Smith Dawie replying to Hawa. Wow. What wickedness. I think I need to go back up to see what she wrote. We have Smith Dawie. He said, what was the outcome from the Madagascar team? How did it heal? How many got healed? Who drank it? Can someone please tell us? Jack Norman writes, I am listening to my favorite primetime show. Thank you, Giant, for the acknowledgement. Sarah Putuweyi, please, to the government of Liberia, fix our communication system very well, because the communication system is very bad for every one of us. Princess Chosen, where is this place? She's referring to your background. Smith Dawie, the best part of this show is the replay. David Tarley, he says, I want to listen to the match between CPP and Bridge Radio. Samson Gay, hello, Ash, for the GQ Giant Garley. I'm watching from the ATL. Smith Dawie, Joel Howard, criminal Taylor, is a damn hypocrite. Melissa Tawer, hot all around. Justice, we are replying to Princess Chosen, North Korea. Faithful Political D-Man, I personally protest. Okay, that's what he said. He said he protests because the criminals in the Senate should not serve as linesmen in the soccer match. They cannot be trusted. Kalon Zaye replying to Smith, Justice, we are. What I lied about. The report is there. So what are you talking about? Or what are you talking? Hawa Mesga. GOL, we need fast response on that 9-year-old baby boy sodomized at CDC party headquarters. Okay, so that's where we come to that response. Where Smith Dawie says,
just do two more comments and we'll go back to the field of play. 2 more comments, please.
Okay, and then we have coming from we have Steve Boley replying to Smith. I am well, my brother, just watching from my corner. Hawamezga. and that's not the first rape I'm hearing have occurred at the CDC headquarters. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Oh, wow. Y'all know something that we don't know? Back to the field of play this afternoon. No score to either side. No score to CDC and no score to CPP. Take time how you send your small train to the CDC headquarters, though. People love George Weah. They say the man used to play football. On the small train here, George Weah, and they say that the soccer icon. You gotta be very careful. Until something can happen, you can bring to justice who raped the little 9-year-old boy. I'm told his name is Junior Cole. We need some answers. You don't let the week pass now, baking you up. Oh my, you take time how you're sending your children to CDC headquarters. They will spoil your children then. Wickedness in high places. Back to the field of play, the ball comes to corruption. Corruption to lies. Lies to false promises unto men to men. Men to men to D-hole cover hole. D-hole cover hole to police brutality, then to sex trafficking, to murder. Murder to greed. Greed to double jeopardy. Double jeopardy back to witch hunt, back to double jeopardy to witch hunt. George Weah. You can't defeat Darius Dillon, so you want to go after his brother again? You trying to re-arrest the man for the same crime? Hey, George Weah. Is that the type of leadership you were bringing? You brought one Boduke who is not a Liberian man. You wanted him to go to the NDC, but the Senate said no. This man cannot even prove that he's a Liberian. He withdrew his nomination, and guess what? He still serves in your government, Mr. President. This man is not Liberian. You think that can happen in Nigeria or Ghana? Liberia is just a big joke. Yo, we gotta depend on George. We have over your fight. I swear for you. Then the ball comes by the human trafficking. You got this lady who didn't deny that she told people children, send them to America, sold them in some instances for $8,000, $12,000. Fool the children say, yeah, when you go, you will come back to your parents, you will send for your parents then. Who doesn't want to come to America? And the parents then thinking that the children coming to America after they go to school and finish college, they will come and build houses for the parents. Now no, just 419. And George Weah is in Liberia after he heard all these things and still giving the woman contract. Hey man. Hey Liberia. The ball comes back to tribalism. Tribalism to executive torture. So what is the status of this guy who was caught, who allegedly entered the compound of the president? They say the men are Christian men. When you see Christian men doing bad things, George Weah, you say you got your bachelor degree and your master degree from America. You live in America. When you see somebody acting crazy, you're not carrying them to the crazy camp. You're not called the people who can take care of crazy people to value the man. But you beat the man. You're tired of man getting Dofa Tabe. Whether the man still living, we don't even know. Hey, Liberia. Give the small training drugs. When you don't know the surroundings, then you temper with them. Why you can't go to your equal? And some of the men then who can alley the left woman, when in reality the left man. Look, the butthole is not for penetration. So when you know you man, you got woman, any man you see, pay attention. Most of the men that you see, God gave that woman something beautiful that can attract every man. But you don't go in front, you won't go behind. 9 out of 10, 2 things happen. Either your issue small or you're trying to pay debt. Because there's no reason why you should have a woman who is prepared to receive. Then you won't go the other side. It means you got small issue or you trying to pay them. Somebody did it to you before that day you trying to pay. He in the house, you. Nonsense. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to Wilson Tapper. Wilson Tapper to build 12 onto National Market where he making the he doesn't. Then the ball comes back to Alosha Talu. Alosha Talu to Fonfon. Fonfon back to Alosha Talu onto Opion King Kong. Then the ball comes back to social distancing where he making he loses the ball now to Benin Ayure. Better not you to Cummings back to Europe. I said Cummings to Europe French and he said the video. Then the ball comes by the Yomli Kanga Lauren. She looks around. She beats Swapman. Puts it for the team, but the ball comes to active, known, and visible. If you're not active, they don't know you, and they can't see you. To get a job in CPP will be how. But they say what mistake. So they're trying to fix it now. All the Bopo, you ain't see that thing. And the thing was written you. Big letters. Active, known, and visible. Active, known, and visible looks around to VPS. VPS to deception onto lies. Lies to Von Von. Von Von back to elephant meat. CPP. See the elephant meat. They want you. The elephant meat, but then all of them got false teeth. Then the ball comes by the self-interest. Self-interest looks around to no permanent headquarters. No permanent headquarters to everyone wants to be president. The founder. Then the ball comes back to sound before you know. How can you sound something before you read it? Sound before you know, sanction filed down for intended for Joy Howard Taylor. You have a vice president who is a woman. You're raping our little sisters, our daughters and granddaughters in that country. And in most instances, they can be brought to justice. But these are things that she witnessed when her ex-husband was the rebel leader and became president. Where they will rape little young girls and nothing will come out of it. And it's just a new normal, you know, back then. And these are people who are leaders. We have more female leaders in the government. When you see young children telling you at age 12, 13, 14, they had to sell their bodies just to survive. And the other day when Kwame Weeks were going somewhere in across there, you see the young little girl. She said, I gotta go do this so I can get small money. I should tell you about the kind of money they give them. What is 100 Liberian dollars? You do this thing to our daughters and you send your children abroad to go to school. The other man who knows why, the 3 men knows. Nagbe Slaw. Say he trained too good to go to school in Liberia. But he pretends as if he loves Liberia. See him going to another River Judah Grand Crew. People are just wicked, man. You condemn the country you work for, where you made thousands of dollars. This is the place that place is muddy. It's not fit for you trying to go to school there. We've got a lot of work to do. So CPP, I strongly believe that you can do a better job, but you guys have got to work together. In the absence of unity, Jay prepared for George Weah 12 years. That's all we can say. I mean, the boy has prepared himself. This man squandered his money because of mental instability. He regained his wealth at the expense of Liberia and the poor Liberian people, and this is what we get in return. Hey, Liberia. Back to the field of play. The ball comes to prostitution, domestic violence onto hunger to suppression to selective justice to intimidation onto fear. Fear looks around to witch hunt. George Weah said he decriminalized press freedom. But Mr. President, Roots FM is still shut down. Patrick Hunter cannot get his license. Zulu Miller is dead. They still brutalize journalists in Liberia. You are selective in giving out press passes to journalists in Liberia. Where is the press freedom? Me, I know you'll not give me a lesson. So I just waiting now when good government come down, I will go there and do something. I know Joshua does not forgive. That I know for a fact. You'll not give me a lesson. I know that. The ball comes to human trafficking on the trouble, listen to executive torture to nepotism. Nepotism to double jeopardy. Your plans now to re-arrest Darius Dillon's brother. Please stop it, Mr. President. What all the witch hunt about? Jeez. The ball comes to man to man. Man to man to do who cover who back to man to man. On to double jeopardy to woman to woman. Then to Boyo. Boyo to rape. Back to Boyo. You started the Boyo thing way back. So that why you did that Masonic crafting, that society thing, that thing you do Boyo thing for now? JK people. Come in some instances your way. Man, we sleep, they play now for they lay down over each other, then they do has cash, they hustle, they play tate. Before you can join. Hey God, can't you finish, yo? Can't you finish? The way Emery laughing for, I know why he laughing, but I can't go to him now. Emery! The game has come to a momentary standstill, folks. Still no score to either side. No score to CPP and, of course, no score to our CDC. Emery, I mean, welcome back to the show. Let's talk about the CPP for a minute. This game is very tough. CPP wants to score, but with the resistance of corruption, lies, false promises, D-hole, cover hole, boring initiative, intimidation, selective justice. You know, it's very tough. How can you guys really defeat the CDC? Emery? You know, your mic is on.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I think we all have come to a point where we have yeah, my mic is on. Are you hearing me?
Hey, I mean, America, yeah, in Liberia, I mean, your internet jacking again. I mean, in America.
My mic is
you on talk.
It's on.
Yes, sir.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, sir. I can hear you, Emery. Go ahead, say something. You live.
Hello, my mic is on. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, talk and hear you. With how can you guys defeat the CDC?
Hello. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it has come to a point. But it has come to a point where we all realize that we need each other. All right. This is it. In strength, yeah. In strength, you find. Yeah, but
I hope you're not listening to the monitor in the background.
In unity, you find strength.
Emery, I hope you're not listening to the monitor in the background because
see right now in
delay
in America, right? You find the unity, different colors, different creed, backgrounds, religious backgrounds, and so there where you find their strength, like in this city or in tribes, but yet and still when we stand up together to say, you know what, the country is not in the right direction, we need it. No, I'm not listening to the monitor.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the only device I have on. Actually, this is the only device on. I'm not listening to the background.
This is delay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that. There's been a delay. I don't know why there's been a delay. Are you getting me?
Yes, I am. But I'm still.
Okay, very delay. So my point there is simple.
You, do you want to go in and come? Go down.
Yeah, as long as we
You want to
see
go?
the CPP right now, we must not only look at the CPP.
I think he's gonna have to come back in. The grudge to witch hunt, the ripping of little boys and girls in Liberia. Those bad things have got to stop. If God should smile on us. Got people in the House of Representatives. Got people in the Senate. All they want to do make out the money. And at the end of the day, our little brothers and sisters continue to suffer. Your call Ellen Johnson said, leave all kinds of names. You finally have the opportunity. And this is what Liberia gets in return. Okay, let's do this again. Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, Emery, we were talking about the CPP. I want to strongly believe that CPP has the numbers. Okay, because when you add the numbers of the Unity Party, the Liberty Party, the ANC, and of course the ALP, you add a little over 61%. That's the first round victory. But you people have got to work together. Alexander Cummings finished up at 7.2% in the elections in 2017. Joseph Human Boycott finished up at 28%. How does Cummings convince Boycott that he wants to be on the top of the ticket? Because we all, Cummings is a very honest man. And he said from day one, he said from the get-go, I want to be president. In the event where I can't be the president, I will step aside and support my country from the private sector. And this is not just because he called me 2 Saturdays ago, and he said that. He said he really wants to be president. He believes that's the only way you can make a change. Emery?
Right. Well, Ashford, thanks for bringing that question up to the forefront. You see, this is the thing, right? People think that when you have the confidence, you are arrogant. Most cases, it's not true. All right. Our position right now, I will talk about myself. My position right now is anybody who becomes the standard bearer of the CPP, I give my full support, and unwavering too. But we have to look at this. We have to look at other factors to see who's ready to lead the country. Readiness, we're talking about bringing something different that we have not seen, but going to be workable for the country. All right. I'm not going to disparage any member of the CPP right now. I'm not going to demean any member of the CPP, because anybody who becomes the standard bearer is the person we need to support. But let us look at the facts. Let us look at everyone to see the track records, to see the experience, to see the extent on those things, the impasses that we have had in the past. If you look at our country, right, we all talked about the Civil War. Oh, this person did this, the person, we need a war economic crimes court. Oh, that person was corrupt, we need somebody who is not corrupt. Oh, this person. So if you look at all of those things, Ashford, let us be realistic about the issue of Liberia. If we need to start to recalibrate and start fresh and anew, what do you think? If you don't want somebody who was linked or who's linked to the Civil War, you don't want someone who has political patronages in a sense of supporting the bad practices and habits of or behaviors of the past. If you don't want all of those things, You know the answer. I'm not going to go into it because most cases when you speak the truth, and I will tell you this, my profoundness is based on not personal relationship. It's based on sitting with people, all of the different players. People don't understand. I have pictures of Josh Weah that we sat together, when he came to solicit our support. And even with Bromskin, with everyone, with Joseph Boakai. So these are people that I sat with. And looking at my position in my professional career, interviewing people, knowing what to stand their mindset to see whether they fit for a job, it's the common methodology I use. Okay, I use something like that. The method I use is the same thing everyone uses, on an interview to see whether someone is qualified for a job. And there where I could see the difference. So I did not, from the initial stage, never ever had a personal relationship with Alexander B. Cummings. Never. Up to this time, it's all professional on a professional basis. So when some of us talk about him, we do not say this because we have a personal relationship. No, it's not personal. It's a professional relationship, and I will keep it that way, whether people like it or not. The reason why I keep it professionally, I'm very outspoken. I'm a very blunt person. If you ask my team, who is so blunt amongst everyone, they will tell you Emery. Because if I disagree with something, Ashford, I tell you to your face that I disagree with it. So looking at what the question you just asked, it's simple. Let us look at those things that seditions right now. What they're going to attack anyone who is the standard bearer. They're going to link us. They say, oh, because you are in collaboration with people who damaged the country for 12 years. But does that justify the failure of Josh Weah? No, it still doesn't justify the failure of Josh Weah. They're going to say, you work in corporate America. You have not tested the terrain. But Josh Weah tested the terrain, and then he was in the Senate. What was his performance? Zip, nothing, nada. They're going to say, you still got people, but this is Liberia. Like I keep saying, we are the product of our society. There's no way you can form a new party or so that would not incorporate any one of the old. So my point there is simple. If you have the technical know-how and you're a pragmatist, is to have system check and balance and controls that will control people's behavior. Do you know the reason why they put cameras in banks and other places in America, in supermarket? Because they know it's not easy to control human behavior. So they do these things to control you, that someone is watching you. So even you're a criminal, you have to behave properly when you're in the public domain.
Emery, Liberians are sick and tired of seeing people walk away with impunity. Where does Alexander Cummings stand when it comes to the tackle of corruption? Will we see President Cummings lock people up if they are investigated and found guilty for corruption? I know I listened to Mr. Cummings some time ago. He said not only will people be arrested when caught up in corruption, they will also go after your properties, and then they will prosecute you. And you have a professional relationship with Mr. Cummings. And I believe that's one of the reasons why you are fired up in terms of your support. We don't have prisoners in Grand Judet. We don't have prisoners in Bela Yala or the Central Prison for Corruption from previous governments. Do you strongly believe that President Cummings will break that record?
Right. Ashford, you in America, I'm in America. Let us look at it for what it is. Okay, people say, oh, Liberia is different, but they always use America to analogize the instances or the situation in Liberia. So why do we have to use America as a symbol, but then yet and still we cannot implement those things that are done in America? One thing, if someone is groomed in this country and then you reach that level, you're so used to firing if a person is not competent. That's something. In my capacity, even though I have not reached that level, but I have looked at people who's doing things incorrectly and be able to fire because the system does not conform to that practice or that behavior. So this is it. When you work in the system, and people always try to analogize, say, even Ellen, no, it's different. Ellen had not worked in a structural environment for more than 30, 40 years as Cummings. That's the big difference. Ellen had always had political patronages, and so that is to say, through her sojourn in politics, there were people that helped her sponsor, support, give monetary contribution to her, endeavors. And so in politics, with Cummings, can we find people to say, I gave Cummings 200,000 or 100,000 to help him do this and help him do that? Not yet. We cannot find that. So to me, it's a blessing too. You may not like him, but it's a blessing to not be tied to those things that cause our impasses or our retrogression. To me, it's a blessing too. So for me, I believe strongly, since he does not have any type of political ties to the old age or the status quo, it will be so easy. But when your hands are tied to the status quo, it's a lot difficult to be able to implement anything to the fullest. And that's the reason why I have this conviction. It's one of the reasons why I actually picked him and say, he may be surrounded, by people you think are the product of the society when things were bad, things were good, but yet and still he will put in controls. And these are things that we talk about, and the assurance is there that you have to prosecute those people. You even have to go after past government, audit past government, 2-3 governments down the line to see if you can be able to recoup the money for Liberians to be able to benefit. These are things that we talk about, and these are the assurances that we have for us to give our support, because we don't put a blind eye to these things and say we're going to support because we are emphatic or we just are fanatic about somebody or we love this person. No. When you are educated, we expect you to think critically. We expect you to be able to be profound and be objective and look at, what's best and analyze it to your best informed judgment. So there where we stand today, some of us. And that's why, because of our beliefs in our position, people think that that's cockiness, that arrogance. And so, no, for me, I'm a person you can debate with me on these issues. We will talk and be able to sit and talk and see where we all can agree and disagree, and we respectfully, accept the outcome.
Did I just hear you say Cummings will go after Ellen and her officials?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because look, it's not easy to work in corporate America, especially in the private entities in this country. It's not easy. It's not easy in that you don't excel to such high position if you don't have the spine to make a decision. And that's one thing I see in corporate America. Believe me or not, so many people watching right now, they know corporate America. Corporate America, if you don't have the spine to fire someone if they are wrong. If someone stole on your job, for instance, the manager at one of the big chains, Stop and Shop or the giant supermarket or so, if the employee stole from over there, you tell me that you're a manager, you're going to hide it and say, no, you cannot forward the person to the legal system to prosecute the person. So these are things that you tend to do over your lifetime in this country learning it. So why can't you do it? Especially when you don't have any political favoritism or tie to anyone to say they supported you financially, that you will have to hide their deals. Why can't you do it? Why will it be impossible for you to do? People underestimate. Look, let me tell you this. Strength is not in how loud and how hard you talk. Strength is not in how abusive you are. Strength is not in whether you can demean or make mockery of a person. Strength is in the legal system. When you leave it to the legal system, that's strength, because the Constitution is the strongest body in any country. So we see that the past officials being shielded from the legal system, the executive or other influential people, they find excuses for them. But with Cummings, I don't think it's going to be the case. Even with his, I've seen it, with his relatives, his mom, or anybody in life, he's going to let you face the legal system because he was brought up that way, and that's all he knows. He doesn't know how to stand and talk for wrongness with someone with high moral and ethical values.
Well, Emery, that brings me to my next question. Now, what is your stand on the rape situation in our country, especially for our sons, our nephews, our little brothers? And this is not something that just started, you know. This has been around for a long time. Under the Cummings administration, what would you think the action would be against those who do these bad things to our young brothers and sisters in Liberia?
I think actually let us not segregate our issues, not let us not cherry pick our issues. Okay. One of the reasons why we suffer we cherry pick so much. We think the law should function highly in one sector and then less in the other sector. But if you have integration where you have all functionaries of the government are operating equally, like how they should operate according to our constitution, everything will come to sync. Everything will sink in and they will work accordingly. So one of the issues I see, people, yeah, rape, we know women are being raped at a higher rate than even the boys or younger boys and so. But at the same time, we cannot segregate or we cannot cherry pick the women's issue from the men's issue because there are a lot of young boys too. They may not come up front to say those things. So my point that the judiciary system must be functional, must be functional to a point where in America, actually, when there's a rape case, there's a rape case. There's no way it's the state versus the defendant, okay? Because in that Liberia, we always put the cart before the horse. We make it to be about two families. No, this is not a family discussion. It's about the state, the government against the perpetrator or the alleged person or the alleged a person who actually committed the act. So we tend to confuse ourselves in our country. And that's the reason why you see most of these things don't happen. I keep saying we cherry pick on these things. So my point, if the law is working, where you have the judiciary system is functional enough, then if there's a rape case, I don't think family need to sit and talk
But
about
Embry,
family.
but Embry, how do we fix the judiciary system? For example, a child gets raped and they go to court. The perpetrator is found guilty, and the next thing you know, he jumps bail, and he's out and about again. The chances are he might go and he or she might go and do the same to somebody else. So how do we fix the judicial system? I listened to Mr. Cumming a couple of days ago. He was on the T-Max show, and he said the judicial system is rotten. How do we fix these things?
This is where we talk about competence, and we talk about competence is to check the backgrounds of people we employ. Okay, check the backgrounds of people we employ to the fullest. I'm not accusing anyone out there, but if you see a child being raped and you just let it go, it simply means that tendency is in you. As a prosecutor, the prosecutorate arm, if you just see those things and you just let it go, it's possible there's 100% chance that you are doing the same thing. So this is my point. Put people, before you put people in places, whether political, non-political positions, so do their background checks to the fullest, that you know them, that you know who they are. And then another thing, when you put them there, you expect them to function and do the duties according to the Constitution. So I understand where you're coming from. These things are happening because
and I also want you to weigh in on this. How I basically just posted that. Can you imagine we just had a rape case, a baby, and the family told them they would handle it. You live in America, I live in America. It is out of our hands when these things happen. So fixing this kind of thing in Liberia is really going to be really tough.
Yeah, it's true, Ashford. But that's why I keep saying you want a leader who has that moral ethical consciousness to be able to be firm and strong on these issues. We have not, to be truthful, we have not had, whether we like it or not, let us look at the track records of past government. We have had presidents that have been into the sodomizing, that we have had presidents that have been into dating young girls and even putting them on pedestals and so. So do you expect that society to come up with, even if you have someone at the justice ministry who going to be strong and firm on prosecuting someone, if you see a president who is in the habit of collecting young girls and partying with them and supporting them, financially supporting them, do you think you're going to have your deputies or so going against you? It's not going to happen. So it's a societal issue, but look, change comes from the top, the leadership, whether we like it or not, that's how it is from the leadership. As long as you exemplify good tenets, good behavior, good virtues from top, your deputy is going to follow because they know you're no nonsense person. You don't take those things lightly. So you know what? Most cases, things will not be 100%, but you will find people not doing those things. But when you're a leader, it's upfront that you fly into Ghana. When you're a leader, it's open that you got other baby mamas all around. When you're a leader, all those things morally can have an impact on the society. The society going to pick up and think that it's normal. So you see how something that is abnormal becomes something that's normal because of the leadership. And I'm not going to say wholeheartedly we're going to, but the leadership is supposed to stand against those things because you're supposed to demonstrate. You're supposed to demonstrate good tenets of leadership. Morality is key. Ethics, key. So that's the point.
Well, folks, if you just join us, we still have a few minutes, but want to go back to Information Highway and then get back to the field of play before we conclude with Mr. Emery tonight. And I strongly believe Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts is picking up the signal. And Mrs. Roberts, if you can just come in and read out a few comments, we appreciate it. Thank you, Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Mr. Carly.
Okay.
Vida Dunner, right? Those beats that are raping those babies, they're probably raping their own children at home. Hawa Meska, my uncle needs to upgrade his internet services and make Benson Nicole Jr. that Propo internet.
How I said she just sent him some data, so you see the man internet is stable now.
Okay. Vida Dunner, your data is probably low then. Pastor Jay, checking Mike. Letty Brooks Roberts, he watching Joe. We are Sunshine Girls. Peter Dunner, restart your phone, Emmerich. Peter Quay is watching. Yeah, Cindy Martin Quay is watching. Letty Brooks Roberts, right. What about those that are not educated, Emmerich Benson? You spoke of the educated people that understand the CPP. We were asking about that. Hawa Meska, can you imagine all those senators, only 8 signed to keep Dillon? People want to kick a man out who wants accountability. Hawa Meska, we hope this regime was against Ellen too and refused to audit. Hawa Meska, when I see it, I will believe it. I don't trust Liberian democracy. Samson Gay, I don't know which is the funniest, watching politics in Liberia or watching the Tom and Jerry show. There is never a dull moment. Smith Dawie, many Liberians unfortunately cherish all kinds of wrongdoing. Edna Yates is watching. Hawa Meska, can you imagine? We just had a rape case. A baby and the family told us they will handle it. We had laws. If we had laws, those families too will be arrested. Smith Dawie, A Lebanese businessman told me once that Liberia is the only country in the world where water climbs the hill. Impossible things happen in Liberia. Period. However, a day will come even the families will be arrested for not reporting crimes. Smith Dawiye, with a weak justice system, everything you are saying is liquor talk. Hawamesca, Grand Kidmount County officials are coming for you all. Some of them Ashford are married to children. I'm hearing in the rural areas as young as 15. These are country officials. So how will the citizens abide? Maldo Pillar's son, I strongly believe when caught in the act, we cut off their balls. Wow, that's deep. Replying to Kalon, happy belated birthday. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Thank
Those
you.
are the current trending comments.
Thank you.
One more. Steve Boley. He says these are the kind of men that should be expelled from the legislature. He disgraced the entire nation, but they're chasing Dylan for describing their behaviors and actions. Thank you, Mr. Godwin.
And again, we want to say congratulations to Mr. Jack Nerman, celebrating with lovely Mrs. Nerman this afternoon, tonight. Still no score to either side, no score to the CPP, and no score to the CDC. Mrs. Rita Nerman, I want to join you in congratulating your husband, Mr. Jack Nerman, as he celebrates his 51st birthday. Congratulations, bro. About to the field of play, the boy comes to prostitution onto domestic violence. Domestic violence to Honker to Hartan back to Honker. When he make it, no, he doesn't, then the ball comes to suppression to selective justice onto domestic violence. Especially in these times, you know, the solution for domestic violence is just walk away. I know you'll be provoked because you used to the kids being in school and maybe your husband, your wife being at work. And this is for the first time where you see the couple in the same environment and perhaps 24 hours. And people need a space, you know? But always, whether you're the man or the woman, somebody has to play the role of the tall person. Walk away. Avoid argument. Little things will help. You know you gotta be sick when you get that angry and intentionally go to pluck up the eyeball of your fiance. You know you've got a problem if you have to go and kill your girlfriend because of jealousy and confess that, yes, I killed her because she got a boyfriend. You died from COVID. Somebody came and killed you because of jealousy. Somebody tried that. Somebody treasure. So is he acting up or is she acting up? Just play alone. Somebody out there will pick you up and clean you up. Now, back to the field of play, the ball comes to drugs abuse. Under prostitution looks around to domestic violence. When he making it, he doesn't. Then the ball comes back to selective justice. Selective justice to intimidation. Onto grudge to witch hunt to retaliation. Then the ball comes back to George Ware. George Weah to corruption. Corruption back to George Weah. George Weah to greed. Greed back to George Weah. You got a deer on your side. The follow tongue on your shoulder. Then it's Monday Tabadu. You can't leave it for somebody else. George Weah wants everything for himself. What? And you see people defending George Weah. All the man was rich. The man still got money. Where was the money? You had to wait till you come to power before you start building houses all over the place. Why you didn't build these houses a long time ago? Because you think like bring people at Momo, eh? And lastly, before we go to Emirates for his parting comments, folks, this news I received is very disturbing. And I'm calling on the Justice Minister to do something about this. They are taking dead bodies, anywhere from 10 to 15, from the central prison. So people are in jail just for common thing, jacking cell phone. You go to jail, they send you to the central prison, you're there for months, if not years. And family members are hoping that their relatives will go to court one day. But every day you find people calling the prison guard. So 5 people died today. 10 people died today. And some of the prisoners then they're saying all kind of crocodile then coming on us. The place is filtered. People are dying. They play, they eat, they do everything there. But the main criminals, people who are hurting the country, they're driving air conditioning vehicles with their Wamidan girlfriends and that. This is just not fair. Something has to be done. Only in Liberia. The boy comes to comments. Comments to Yuri. Yuri looks around to Yomli Kanga Lauren. Will she make it? No, she doesn't. She connects Joseph Yuman Boyka. Boyka looks around. He beats one positive for the team. But when he make it back to comments, comments back to Boyka to Yuri, back to comments. He's moving deep in and out of the field. Folks, I'm telling you, comments shoot. Oh man, way off target, making it no trouble to CDC. That would have been the curtain raiser for the CPP, but the boy just way off target. Oh man. Goal kick awarded now to the CDC. Welcome to Molba Molu, aka Lekotor. Molba Molu said George Weah will sleep with women in exchange for job. Sex for job. In this day and age. Not because of you qualify, but because you got to give me some type of sexual favor. And Molba Bolu also said with George Weah will go out, get money, intended for the country, and will instruct Samuel Toy. The money I brought is down for your country. My own money there. I went to hustle for that money. So what is love for country there? And you know, the opposition will have to be very careful because this is George Weah's strategy. George Weah would take $1,000 from you and give you 50 cents. You see George Weah building homes now in Grand Gita, Grand Crew, and other parts of the country. And people are saying, oh yeah, the man is doing well. The man is doing well. And the kind of man we need, he's doing very well for the country. Somebody who never earned 5 cents before. $1,000 from the country and give them 50 cents. You expect them not to be happy? So he's building roads now. He's building cheap homes for people who have been living in touch houses for ever so long. And at the end of the day, you say, look what I've done. And this is what we have to deal with. So the opposition will have to rear-tighten the belts as they try to facing George where comes this election. We want to go back now to Emery. Emery, are you still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. I want to say a big thanks to you, my man, for picking up our invitation at very short notice. This is what show business is all about, and you one of those guys who is ever ready, and I would applaud you for that. What is your partner comment, man, just before we leave tonight?
Yeah, Ashford, thanks for having me. I would just like to admonish all of the people within the CPP to for us to work together if we want to make this work. We may have, dissenting views and so, but I think we can make it work. It's one of the fears of CDC. Well, and it's their own strategy because they cannot keep up to the promises. There's no way they can create that vibrant society where people can have a living wage. They cannot do those things that are constitutional. They cannot deliver in any way. So the moment they see us unified and united to work in one accord, they get terrified. And I'm going to encourage each and every one. And this is my position, like I keep saying. In as much as I support the ANC and Alexander B. Cummings, anyone who's going to become the standard bearer for the CPP, I give my full support. And I'm going to make it clear, and it's going to be open right here. I'm going to give my full support. The reason why I'm going to give my full support, is simple. If you look at all of the players within the CPP, I don't care what we say, they are a lot better than George Weah. I'm serious about it. And then to see us still come back to say who's going to replace George Weah, it's a disgrace, a national disgrace to Liberians. A country of 4.5 million, where you have more than or maybe more than 2-3 millions of people, educated people, even ethical values. It's upon us to think critically, be profound, and search for good people. But we don't search for good people because we cheer people that we think, that got popularity, that in no way, in no shape and form can be able to transfer to leadership in our country. And we keep making the same mistakes. So everyone out there in the CPP, and not only within the CPP, there are other people in different, maybe small political parties too. To me, they are a bigger picture. We must respect them. For instance, Movi, or NDC, all the guys realize that George Weah cannot move the country forward. So it's time that we put our egos aside and unify and let us be nationalistic to move our country forward. It's time that we join hands in hands with people that are patriotic, educated. But the question, Ashford, before I go, someone asked a question about people that are not educated. You see, with me, like I always say, people just don't understand. They don't know my background. My background is simple. I have both backgrounds, educated background and uneducated background. But you won't believe it. I spend most of my time too with my background that uneducated, and these are the people that I relate to. There's no way, there's no way anyone will tell you that Emery cannot relate to his people that cannot read and write. And today I was just,
Come on.
let's today you won't believe it, right? I haven't communicated with them for so long. Today I sent someone over there, the person there for 1 week for me to talk to the whole town, the entire town. Ashford, every corner they went, every corner the phone went, everybody seeing Emmerich. Everybody over plus happy. People think that some of us, we are disconnected from, our background. No, that's not true. That's not true. We have always been in support of our background, and we'll always be in support. They underestimate, they see us, They think that the education, no, our people relate to us.
Thank you.
Ones that cannot read and write, they relate to us.
Thank you, brother. Our time is up. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for coming. Okay, we're going to go back now to Information Highway as we get the closing comments from Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, Mr. Wheelers. I'm away. Baller is in the building. Vituts. Been a minute, my brother. Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gali. Want to say thank you to our viewing audience and our listening audience. We want to say thank you to our guest, Mr. Emric Benson Nickel, for coming in at a short notice. We also thank you, Mr. Gali, for this opportunity. But in closing, I would like to say, in this time of turmoil, like we said last night, we have a president who is to unite us, but during these times, he's more divisive. But I was opportune to listen to the late president, he made a comment of the past president of the United States, George W. Bush, who is saying that in these times, America must listen to the pain of the people and understand the injustices that have been served upon Black people. We all have to empathize instead of making excuses for why these things exist. There are too many of it. So we want to say, again, we stand together, united we stand, and we have to get redressed for these issues that our people are facing. I thank you. Have a great evening, and always a pleasure. Letty Brooks Rob signing off.
And folks, as always, that's all the time I have to be with you. Mr. Mayet Modubu and the rest of the crew, thank you so much for taking the time of your busy schedule just to form part of the production tonight. God willing, we will be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Please allow me to borrow the wordings of the wise man. Tough times don't last, tough people do. The heart of a man is never known until he rises, and there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone, because you can't hide your nakedness from bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine. Don't see. When white men know you friend black man. This has been yours truly, the microphone medicine, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than the lion, and that's why they call him Dressed to Payege. The now you know man. Ask for the giant gauntlet. Have a good night. Jack Nerman, enjoy, bro. Dumpa Fire, Kalonzai, enjoy.